you know the Nadabindu Upanishad is from which Veda?
I don't know.
So like each raga has a dhat, right? It's born from one of the parent ragas. In Carnatic music, we call Melakarta raga. All these Upanishads are born from one of the Vedas. This Nadabindu Upanishad is from Rig Veda.
Oh, okay.
Rigvediya Yoga Upanishad.
In Rig Veda, it is belongs to the yoga type of.
Yeah.
Does that?
So yoga and Vedanta, these are two branches of the spiritual learning. Yeah.
So Anandji, the Upanishads, I have this like a very old question. So this Upanishads, when it says, is it like multiple Upanishads together? It's called as Vedas, or like how Upanishads are different from Vedas?
Upanishad is Vedantam, end of the Vedas. So Veda has more of the ritualistic aspects, the religious aspects, whereas when it comes to Vedantam, it is more of philosophical. It's the essence of the wisdom. It is part of Veda. Upanishad is a part of the Veda.
And I think
you call them, they are part of like the Shruti, Smriti, or is it someone else wrote each Upanishad out of their own personal knowledge?
The rishis only, different rishis. The name of the rishi, everything will be mentioned in the Upanishad usually when we have if you look at it. Yeah.
It is something that was heard, right, by the rishis when they were in that state of consciousness,
right.
and it was not written it was not written like from the mind of a person. It was downloaded, and then I think Vedavyasa, he compiled the Vedas into 4, and then also, if I understand correctly, even Upanishads, he took that part of philosophy and made it into Upanishads, right? Compiled it all together. Vedavyasa didn't write it. Yeah.
Literal meaning of the word Upanishad is to sit nearby.
Right.
Near the Guru.
Yeah. And Vedanta means it's not like as if it's in the end of the Vedas, but it is the ultimate knowledge of all the Veda. Yeah.
Okay, we'll start with the Shanti mantras. Vairajatmopasanaya.
Vairajatmopasanaya.
Sanjata Jnanavannina.
Sanjata Jnanavannina.
Dattva karmatrayam yogi.
Dattva karmatrayam yogi.
Yat padam yati tad bhaje.
Yat padam yati tad bhaje.
Om vangme manasi pratisthita.
Om vangme manasi pratisthita.
Mano me vachi pratishtitam.
Mano me vachit pratishthitam.
Aviravirma ethi.
Aviravirmayeti.
Vedasya ma anisthaha.
Vedasya ma anisthaha.
Shrutam me ma prahasihi.
Sutam me ma prahasihi.
Anenadhitena.
Anegaditena.
Ahoratran sandadhami.
Ahoratran santadami.
Ritam vadishyami.
Ritam vadishyami.
Satyam vadishyami.
Satyam vadishyami.
Tanmamavatu.
Tanmamavatu.
Tadvaktaramavatu.
Tattaramavatu.
Avatu mam.
Avatu mam.
Avatu vaktaram.
Avatu bhaktaram.
Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.
Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.
Om Akaro Dakshina Paksha.
Om Akaro Dakshina Paksha.
Ukarastu Uttarasmritaha.
Ukarastu tarap.
Makaram Pritchamityahu.
Makaram Prityamityahu.
Arthamatratu Mastakam.
Arthamatratu mastakam.
Padadikam Gunastasya.
Padadikam gunastasya.
Shariram Tattvamuchyate.
Shariram tattvamuchyate.
Dharmosya Dakshina Chakshu.
Dharmostya dakshina chakshur.
Adharmo yo parasmritaha.
Adharmo yo paras samritya.
Dharmo yo aparasmritaha. Adharmo yo parasmritaha.
Adharmo yo parasmritaha.
So we already went through the first 3 or 4 shlokas, right? Akara, out of the Om is divided into 3 syllables, A, U, and the and also the silence also is there. So Akara is the Dakshina, Ukaram is the Uttara, Makaram is the back Pricham, Arthamatratu Mastakam. The sound is the crown, Padadigam Gunastasya, Padadigam feet, Gunastasya, its guna, its quality. Shariram Tattvamuchyate. The whole body of Om is the Tattva. Tat Tvam. Tat means that, Tvam is you.
Oh wow.
The Sanskrit has this beauty, it reveals, if you look into it with insight, its meaning, everything much deeper about it, it's revealed in small, simple letters. We generally translate Tattvam as like a theory or,
Essence.
essence, yeah.
So it's like Tattvamasi. So it's
Correct. Asi, yeah.
Wow.
Dharmasya Dakshina Chakshu. The Dakshina Chakshu, eye, is Dharma. Adharmo yo aparasprita. The other eye is Adharma. So the duality, both are there in both are part of it, of the Om. Nothing is excluded, it is one.
So when they say, I think we talked about it earlier, so when they say Dakshina means your right eye.
Right, yeah.
Your eye. At the same time, the right side, I don't know, for whatever reason, seems right, correct, better, positive, or whatever. However, the Dakshin is not taken as such a positive direction. So to have that together, it's very interesting. Just a thought.
Then next shloka, the third one, Purloka. Purloka padayostasya.
Bhuloka padayostasya.
Varlokastu januni.
Bhuvarlokastu januni.
Suvarloka kati deshe.
Suvarloka kati deshe.
Nabhideshe maharjagat.
Na videshe maharjagat.
Jano lokastu hriddeshe.
Jano lokastu hriddeshe.
Kanthe lokastapastataha.
Kante lokastapastataha.
Bhuvor lalata madhyetu.
Bhuvo lalata madhyetu.
Satyaloko vyavasthitaha.
Satyaloko vyavastitaha.
Did we stop there? That was the last one we did. I think. Mentions about the 14 lokas. Bhur, bhuva, swaha, tapaha, janaha, all those things. Maha. We'll chant the next one, fifth one. Sahasrarnamati vatra.
Sahasranamati vatra.
Mantrayesha pradarshitaha.
Mantrayesha pradarshitaha.
Evametam samarudho.
Evametam samarudho.
Hamsa yoga vichakshanaha.
Hamsa yoga vishaschanaha. The sixth
You
one
have
is...
the book. Can you, one of you, read that fifth one, the interpretation?
Rika, you want to go?
Sure. Should we do the Anvaya as well? It says Esha means flowing. Pradarshana is explained atra here eva as Sahasra Arna, 1,000 waved. Mati intelligence. Vichakshanaha, one who is proficient. Samarutha, having mounted. Evam, thus, Hamsa. Hamsa able to distinguish between reality and impermanence. Na bhidyate is not affected. Karma charya by the bonds of karma, fruits of action. Api or even satah by 100. Koti crores. Papa sins. The following mantra is explained here as 1,000 waved intelligence. One who is proficient in yoga, having thus mounted the Hamsa, is not affected by the bonds of karma or even by 100 crores of sins. Mantra is an ancient science which developed very early in human civilization. The word mantra comes from two roots, manam meaning mind and trayati meaning liberates. Manahat trayati iti mantra. That which liberates the mind is mantra. When mantra is repeated or utilized for meditation on a regular basis, it creates a vibratory field that imbues the mind and consciousness with the power of that specific sound vibration, as well as harmony and clarity. Here, mantra is described as 1,000 waves of flowing intelligence. When you add that kind of dose to the ordinary mind, it becomes extraordinary. Today, we consider an extraordinary mind to be one capable of regurgitating many facts and figures or accomplish various feats in the external world. However, in the spiritual context, it means one who is able to access the higher planes of mind and consciousness. The major practice of meditation, which is given in yoga, is mantra. Hence, to be proficient in yoga means to be proficient in mantra. In this verse, the word Hamsa has double meaning. First, Hamsa is a swan, which represents the quality of viveka or discrimination, because it has the ability to sift milk from water through its beak. Discrimination is not a quality of the ordinary mind, and that is why so few people have it. It is a quality of the higher mind and is therefore considered to be a yogic quality. Secondly, Hamsa is one of the foremost mantras, along with Om, contained in the Upanishadic texts. These two mantras were practiced assiduously by the yogis of old, who attained samadhi and self-realization through them. The mantra Hamsa is also practiced in reverse as Soham. Hamsa has two roots, Ham or I and Sa, that. I am that. The verse states that one who is proficient in yoga has mounted the Hamsa, the swan of discrimination. It also refers to the yogi who has mastered the Hamsa mantra, I am that, supreme consciousness, and no longer limits or identifies himself with the individual roles and association of worldly life. Such a yogi remains unaffected by the bondage of karma and even by 100 million sins.
The sixth we did not chant actually. We just chanted 5. We'll chant 6 also now. Na bhidyate karmacharaihi.
Na vidyate karmacharaihi
Papakoti shatairapi.
papakoti shatairati
Agneyi prathama matra.
bhagneye pratama matra
Vayavyesha tatha para.
Vayavyesha tatha para.
So, Agneyi prathama matra. The first matra unit is Agneyi, from fire, originates from fire, and Vayavyesha tatha para. The other matra is Vayu or prana. So, Nada originates na bhidyade karmacharaihi papakoti shateirapi Agneyi prathama matra Vayavyesha tatha. Nada is the combination of na and da. We said Agni and prana, right? That's what is coming here in the second line of the 6th shloka. What we read, any comments or from the interpretation?
I think the mantra japa, basically, what I understand, the japa is so much part of the whole, I guess, the whole system of yoga. And the way they are describing Hamsa, it's, you know how they say the japa and the ajapa mantra. So the japa will happen with your mouth, and then ajapa, the way this goes, it's just with your breath, without the sound coming out of your mouth. It becomes your all-day meditation sort of thing. Like with every breath, you can hear that, like in breath, out breath, whether you hear Soham or Hamsa. And in our, because Padmaji and I are also into Swar Yoga, so they say which nostril is operating at a given time. That's the mantra you will focus on. So if your right nostril, which is a Dakshina, by this, logic, or by all yogic logics. So if your right nostril, which is also the Surya, the principle, the Surya principle, I guess, Surya and Chandra. So in that case, you inhale and then you start with Soham, because inhalation is So and exhalation is Hum. And if your left nostril is operating, whether you say the Japa or Ajapa, or if your left nostril is operating, which is the cool side, the lunar side, then you always start with an exhalation, which will mean Hum. So that will bring the mantra Hamsa, and the right nostril breathing, which is sort of not related specifically to this, but it was an interesting connect.
Yeah, definitely it is related also. Like, it makes sense. You can connect it here.
It's like saying, I am that and that I am. That I didn't. That's an interesting one. I didn't know that, Rekha. The right and left nostril, Hamsa, Soham and Hamsa. Huh?
There is a technique they give, especially when you wake up in the morning. First, you observe your breath, if it's coming from left or right.
Right.
And they'll say if your right is operating, then you will wake up or like you get up from your bed facing either north or east. And if it's left, then you face west or south. So if right is operating, you will imagine a sun in the horizon and a sun in your heart. And then you will there'll be an exchange of energy, a solar energy between you and the perceived sun on the horizon. So that's sort of a meditation you wake up with, and you will just say so and let all the horizon sun's energy come into your heart. And you will let that energy go back to that sun. So that circle. And if your left nostril is operating in the correct direction you face, and then you will start with a hum, but this time you imagine a moon in your heart and a moon horizon, and you do this energy exchange with a hum, sending the energy out first and then taking it in. So quick turn again, but something followed that because I learned it there.
Yeah, that's interesting.
So all these processes are naturally happening without our conscious awareness.
Yeah.
So when we breathe, we inhale the prana from the atmosphere, and then we breathe out, we give out whatever is required by, scientifically, like the oxygen and carbon dioxide exchange happening. Same way the prana apana exchange is happening. So both the inside and outside both need each other to exist. If the sun is not there, there is no life, right? Same way the moon has its own influence in the human system. So all this solar system, the different planets, all we are connected with all of them.
On an unrelated thing, but I found it fascinating. I was in music lesson last night, a little, unsettled for about a lot of things. So my teacher said, don't do anything, just sit and close your eyes and we'll just chant Om on each note. And that itself was, how many times we have all sung Yaman, which is, you know the notes and you know all the techniques. But all we did was sing Om from the lowest mantra to, Tar Sapeg. And suddenly I started feeling all this interesting stuff moving about in my head, which was a side note. But what I was focusing on, he said that our bodies are 70+% water. So when you sit, first thing, mind will do its own thing. First thing is to keep your body stable, because it's like having a basin with water in it, like a dish with water. And if it's moving, then you can't see your image. But if you sit with no movement of your body, then suddenly there is a scope for that internal image to see, which I found very fascinating, which I'm sure everyone knows. But it just was brought up and my eyes just opened to that. How fascinating. Just to keep that body still. If you can't do anything else right now, at least that and the breath work. For beginners like me, that would be something to do, or something to let happen, I guess. Do is not a good word.
Okay. So in Saundarya Lahiri, Shankaracharya says about the Bhavam and the Bhavani. Bhavani is Parvati, right? So Bhavam means to happen, the happening of the life. So which is Dharma. According to Vipassana, the sense happening, the thoughts happening, the breath happening, everything is just happening by itself. Everything is of the nature of arising and passing. So this is what Bhavam, the life, is all about. So Shankaracharya says, Bhavani tvam dase mayi vitara drishtim sakarunam iti stotum vanchan Kathayati Bhavani Tvamiti Yaha Tadaiva Tvam Tasmai Dishasi Nijasayujya Padavim Mukunda Brahmendra Sputa Makuta Nirajita Padam. It means you are telling Bhavani that I am your devotee. Please look at me with compassion. That to say that, thinking that I want to say that in mind, you just said you only uttered the word Bhavani. You did not say the rest of it. By that time, Bhavani already bestowed you with the Nija Sayujya Padavi. Ultimate is the kind of compassion life has upon you. Just need to be willing and just need to ask. didn't even ask. You just thought I want to ask that, and it was bestowed. That it is passionate. So we were also mentioning about mantra in this 2 shlokas. So mantra is also part of yoga. Mananat trayade iti mantraha. As you ponder over it again and again repeatedly, it comes to your help. It protects you. That is the literal meaning of the word mantra, right? Mantra yoga, japa yoga, tantra yoga, all these are all part of yoga. So what is exactly happening when you are repeating a mantra? So there are different types of mantras. There are like shloka kind of mantras. There are mantras with the bijaksharas. Mantra is basically sound. So sound is the vibration. And like you said, japa mantra is there, ajapa mantra is there. Like soham is the ajapa mantra. It's just happening without any conscious effort from your side. It just keeps going. When you're repeating something again and again, it becomes part of your subconscious mind. Your conscious effort is no more needed. It just becomes a part of the subconscious mind. It happens automatically, like driving. So every mantra, people do different types of mantra, different types of for different purposes. For spiritual upliftments, for material benefits, for confidence, for what not. For anything, there is a mantra. There is a deity, there is a mantra. So when you keep on repeating, it's like an affirmation. You keep on repeating the affirmation. It is deep-rooted in you. It becomes even in sleep. That is going on.
Yeah.
So that's how all these mantras work.
Mm.
And the bija mantras are like, bija means like a seed.
Mm-hmm.
They are very potent, and they also have the results of the mantra in a very subtle form. It's easy to carry a seed than to carry a tree, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the bija mantras are like that. When you they are in small capsule forms, so you can easily get around that. But they are very powerful as you work on them. The subtler it is, the more potent it is. I don't know if you know about homeo medicines.
Yeah.
How the potency increases is by diluting it.
Mm-hmm.
So it multiplies several fold. Like they have certain numbers like 1,000, 2,000, like that, 200, 300. They have numbers like that for each medicine. Same way, these mantras also, when it becomes the different levels of the sound, para, pashyandi, madhyama, vaikhari. Vaikhari is the heard sound, whereas the para is the subtlest aspect of the sound. From that level, we are not conscious or aware at such subtle levels. But by practice of meditation, we can increase the awareness, and before a thought surfaces into your mind as a thought, we'll be able to detect the origin of that thought, that the seed of that thought, the very subtle form. And right from there, you can, if the awareness goes there, it automatically takes care of the thing. You don't need to do anything about it just by observing, because awareness is like a torchlight. Ignorance cannot exist in the light of awareness. So ignorance is automatically eradicated, and that truth will yes. So from that angle, when you approach mantras, it helps very deeply.
That was a good example you gave. You can carry bija mantras like seeds are, but you can't carry the whole tree. That very, very nice. Yeah. Because I think that it's like saying Tattvamasi all in that capsule, but then to know that, you have to understand the whole tree, but you can say it as a mantra, yeah. Very nice. It can be, and also it can be with you all the time. I didn't understand bija mantras like that. I just thought bija mantra is just a sound. But putting it this way makes much more, what do you call, much more tangible. Yeah. Like these are, it's like a synopsis of a whole publication or something. You can't read the whole publication, but you read that synopsis or summary, then you get the essence of the thing. Then if you want details, then you go and look for the whole, read the whole paper, right? So there's a very nice, yeah, and another thing also that you mentioned about this homeopathic medicine and dilution, yeah, that also made sense, because, it's like when you keep diluting tenfold, and also what they say that, the water that is surrounded by this molecule of, the active molecule, leaves its imprint even if it is at the 10 to the 6 dilution. And homeopathic medicine has something to do. I don't know exactly the science behind it is, but I do know that one can detect at a certain 10 to the 6 level, 10 to the 8 level dilution of a molecule. So it and if we are it made sense.
So I had a question before we wrap up. So on the mantras, it's just one of those questions I've always had. And there's so many mantras that you chant, and so they have a meaning, not unlike the beach mantras, like other mantras. They all have these beautiful meanings, and the beach mantras are just also extremely powerful. So does it matter that you know the whole profound meaning of what the mantra, like you have the intellect to grasp everything that it's doing, or just in your inner sense, if you're doing the mantra, it'll still have the same power? And if it does, I always wonder this whole Vedantic philosophy of non-dual, etc., and then this whole thing about mantras being about different gods and such. How do they connect? So are we worshipping to these, deities and doing mantras to them? Are we? I've seen gurus who will say, "Oh, this is poo-poo stuff. What gods and stuff. Vedanta is the only thing." So what is a regular common mind supposed to do? Do puja and do mantras, whether you understand everything or not. You just keep chanting them, or do variety of mantras. When you do puja, you do mantras to each god. But somebody I was listening to a couple of days ago, she said, people, if you want water or to dig a well, you dig 200 feet here, 5 feet there, then you do 10 feet there. You're going to get water, which I understand means just you do one mantra, one this, one practice. So people who are like people like me, I can only talk about myself. I do a variety of things. So am I just digging different things and not ever going to get anything? And how does Vedanta and deity worship or bhakti basically, do they connect to each other? Do you need to know what mantra is doing? Or you just chant even with the basic knowledge? Or sometimes with Bij mantras, you maybe not even basic knowledge, just because somebody said, oh, this is a power. Like for David, the Navarn mantra, for example, something I've used quite a bit. So it's just doing its own thing. Do you have to say it? Again, you do it in your mind and it still has the same powers. Too many questions, but if you can answer any one of them would be fine.
Yeah, mantras are already empowered. The mantras that are advocated by the rishis are already empowered. Like taking a medicine, even if you know or do not know the chemistry of the medicine that you are taking, it will still work. But as you keep on chanting and working on that, gradually you will start to understand the inside of it also. What it consists, you get more familiar with it, right? So mantras can be connected to deities. There are, like I said, different types of mantras are there. So the mantras that are connected to deities, you are connected to the deity. When you are connected to a deity, so mantra is something to help you connect with the deity. When you are directly connected with the deity, you might not even need a mantra. The mantra is like a tool.
Actually,
and Vedantic paths of non-dualism, do they go side by side, or deity worship and that?
When you go to Vipassana, Goenkaji says about Niramisha Puja, which is like the Vigraha Puja, and that is probably, you can say, it is more of a preliminary kind of practice. Like when you are a small child, you play with dolls. You'll always carry a doll to sleep. When you grow up, you don't do that anymore, right? You will have the real kids, and then you put them to sleep, or we give them food, everything. Then we come to the reality of life at a later stage. That time you are still playing with the dolls that you had before. But that time it was relevant, it made sense. You enjoyed it. That's fine, nothing wrong with it.
Actually, you also mentioned, you just mentioned about taking medicine. You can take the medicine, but you don't need to. I mean, you take the medicine without knowing, but it's still whether you know it or not, the medicine helps, right? Actually, that was very interesting too, because I was thinking, see, look, in a capsule of medicine, there is so much research that went in. And we don't need to read all of that. We just take the capsule, and that is very, it just makes total sense. And also, the flashback was Tattvamasi, I am that. So I did some affirmation, or I'm still doing some affirmation on I am. If I did this affirmation maybe 4 years ago, 5 years ago, it's like saying the affirmation is like, I am Padma. I'm so convinced, and I know every cell in my body vibrates with Padma, right? The name. But the sadhana was, there's something that came up. Do this sadhana, something like that. And the sadhana is, you take the aspects of I am that. And that can be a love, that can be joy. So for 7 days, do that kind of affirmation. I am that principle, or I am joy, I am love, and act throughout the day. Express that throughout the day, as be conscious and try to be. It is very difficult, I'm trying that, to be conscious of that. And then after next 7 days, you choose. By the time that 7 days, you begin to, like I did the light, I am light, and it definitely started making a difference. Like you feel brighter, whatever comes into your space. So, and I was thinking, when you mentioned about this, you take this, you do, like medicine works the same way. We know now so much of Vedanta, and that, by neti, I'm not this, I'm not that, but this one, I am that, that affirmation is so much more, at the same time, it is so much more absorbable now than it would have been several years ago when we didn't know Vedanta also. Well, what do you mean, I am that? I am the table, I am the tree. It didn't make sense, right? But now this affirmation was much easier. Knowing some, having done some work and studies on this Vedanta principles. So both of them are important, I think, to that, yeah. But it's a good one. It's like you carry that principle with you like a capsule, and understand what it stands for. But then one doesn't need to know once you connect, I think, within. Yeah. Yeah, nice.
There's also the placebo effect, right?
Yeah, I mean, there is not also, it is the placebo effect, I think, most of it. When you die, like homeopathic medicine, oftentimes you wonder, I mean, it's diluted, it says also diluted to nth, so many degrees, and you wonder, is there even a molecule there? But, they say that the molecule, as you have diluted, the molecules have touched the water, and that is sufficient to, I don't know. So is that placebo?
Homeopathy work for sure.
Yeah, is that placebo? Yeah, actually, Dr. Joe has big things on placebo, how it works, right? I mean, he's very big on placebos.
So the mantra would work that way as well. So I guess at the bottom of it is your mind and your mind, intellect, your body all working together. Because if you believe, then it works. Then that means the universe also rearranges, not outside, but inside your own mind. And then you see it that way because it's your own extension. Or you always wonder, how is that possible that I'm creating my reality? So that's how. So do you have to be a simple-minded person and you can ace this whole knowledge, or do you have to be highly intellectual? Because Vedantic knowledge is not easy for everyone to understand. But does that mean all those highly intellectual people are the only ones who, gain salvation? Or
intellect is needed, sharp intellect is needed. To whatever extent, it need not exaggerate it, but to whatever amount required, that much only is needed. It's better to be simple also. Like when you travel, travel light. You can enjoy better, right?
Yeah.
That's in right now, by the way.
That's true, actually, yeah.
Intellect, when you say intellect, it's not the information that, but it is again the awareness when it comes to spirituality. It's just keenly observing and figuring it out. It will reveal when you are aware.
Actually, in this sloka that we read, the meaning it says that, we oftentimes think that it is the intellect means data information, but in this, for spiritual path, it is your knowing yourself or consciousness. That is, yeah. Somehow I think both of them are like, it's both are needed. I think it's like in one of the Sarvapriyananda talks that I was listening to, Swamiji says, how do you know you are that person? Say Rekha. How do you know you are Rekha? And because when you were a baby, somebody named you Rekha, and they kept saying Rekha, Rekha, and you assumed the name Rekha. But you really have no knowledge other than somebody telling you that you are Rekha. Because you didn't take the name Rekha. Your parents told you your name is Rekha. And how come you are able to believe that and all your life you hold on to Rekha, like that. I'm Rekha, I'm Rekha. But here the whole Vedanta is saying Tattvamasi. Why do you doubt it? Some nurse or somebody at the beginning told you you are this, and it's very difficult for you to separate yourself from Padma, Rekha, and be in that particular, like, actually I was thinking when you mentioned capsule, even this name is a capsule into which the moment I all my life experiences is in this Padma. When I say Padma, I cannot be Rekha, I can only be Padma, and this capsule contains all my personal experiences. But I put all these experiences into Padma because somebody told me I am Padma. It was not a revelation to me, I am Padma. So he was asking the question, but how do you staunchly believe today, and you put all these experiences into it, and when the name Padma comes out, the whole of, the form of Padma, the aspects of Padma, everything shows up in your mind. But here the Vedanta is proclaiming, or all the Upanishads, Tattvamasi, and all the saints, everybody, all spiritual people are saying, why do you have difficulty? So you think about that. You sit and think, what is that? And you will find the answer too. You don't need anything else. Just see. That was fits in very well with what the example you were giving. Yeah. Anyway, and I was thinking, going back to Rekha's placebo effect, this is placebo actually. Somebody said Padma, and I'm carrying Padma all my life with me. I think in a way this exercise, the sadhana that, if you say I am table, it is so hard now, but then to bring that aspects of table in your space and remove this Padma, all the aspects of Padma has to go, and the aspect of love has to come, the aspect of joy has to come. It has to embody. It's a good sadhana, but I was not difficult, but it is difficult in the sense it makes you understand how much we are attached to this Padma name. To know that I am just light. It's very little things just come and then it fades away. Yeah.
Have you done that placebo meditation?
No. What is that placebo meditation? I've just read a lot about from Dr. Joe's point of view. He has book also. Yeah, but I don't know what is it. Yeah, tell us.
Very deep. I have like guided instructions somewhere. The audio I need to. I'm not able to. It's in a hard drive. This new computers, it's not working. I don't know how to.
So you have a meditation, placebo meditation. Wow.
Yeah, it's Vitale only. I think.
Sorry.
Joe only, Joe.
Oh, it is Dr. Yeah? Oh, I'll check it out and see. I didn't know he had a placebo meditation. That's a good one.
It's about rewiring the...
Oh, yeah. Okay. Oh, yeah. His book talks about... Let me go back and... Yeah, I got the book and I haven't finished it actually. I've listened to a lot of his talks.